Good evening. This is tirra-olufemi, your goddess guru, here to share a word of inspiration to assist you, to inspire you along your path to self-realization, to realizing the wonder and the glory of who you really are, as well as on your path to self-mastery. That is so important in this lifetime. Today, another word that has come to me is the importance of our spiritual practices. I am learning that there's a price to pay, whether I engage my daily spiritual practices or if I don't. I think that people tend to minimize the importance of spiritual practices. I remember many years ago reading a story about a spiritual leader whose disciples, or the people that they led and gave spiritual leadership to, would come to him and say, I really think that my spiritual practice is not working for me. And so what this spiritual leader would say is, if that's how you feel, that's fine. Stop engaging your spiritual practices for, hey, gentlemen, will you hold it down, please? Those are my sons. Stop engaging your spiritual practices for at least 6 months. And then come back and let me know how you're doing. And inevitably, the individuals would come back and say their life was in shambles. And so he would say, okay, well, start your spiritual practices back up and let's see how things are going. And when they would come back, they would always say, life is better. So engaging our spiritual practices is very important. Many of us watching this video live in Western culture. I live in America. You don't know my accent. And this is a culture that thrives on distractions, stay on the go, stay engaged in everything and everybody but you and your spirit. It's a culture that is extremely busy, and we thrive on busyness. And so it is so easy to forget that we have to stop and take time of the part of ourselves, take care of the part of ourselves that is most real, which is our soul, our spirit. So for us, engaging our spiritual practices is even more important. And I don't have a lot of mercy, pity, concern, or anything for anybody that comes crying to me who has not been working their spiritual practices. Most anybody who is working their spiritual practice, normally, they don't come to me crying too much. Now, they may come and say, I'm having a rough spot, but I'm making it. They may come and say, I am going through some things, but I'm making it. But rarely does somebody with spiritual practices, who are engaging actively in their spiritual practices, come to me broke down, victimized, all that kind of good stuff. So it may not seem like life is going to be perfect necessarily. And I think it is. It's all perfect. It's perfecting. That's the good thing. Things don't have to be perfect, but to be perfecting, that is awesome. That means we're continuing to grow. But that doesn't mean that our spiritual practices are not working. It is our spiritual practices that will sustain us. And so it is so important. Everyone wants to talk about goals to achieve in this made-up calendar 2011, which I appreciate, and I think it is a jewel and valuable, and I do use the calendar. But it is not all that. If I don't achieve a goal by the end of a particular calendar year, I haven't failed. The calendar is not dictating a whole lot to me. I can use it as a gauge, but people want to talk about, what am I going to do? My thing is this, hey, let's do our spiritual work. Let's engage our spiritual practices. If we engage our spiritual practices, then we will begin to hear from the essence of who and what we are. Our truest desires will emerge. Our destiny will become so apparent and clear to us that it's impossible to not see it. The steps that we are to take to achieve whatever it is that we decided we wanted to achieve will be made plain and clear. And we may see 3, 4, 20 at a time, or we may see one by one. But it's our spiritual practices that allow us to hear, to see, to know, to do, whatever it is that we're called to do. It is our spiritual practices that prevent us from getting caught up in a bunch of bull crap that we end up crying over because we don't know how we got involved in it. It's time out for that. It is completely and totally time out for all of that. Let's wake up daily and feed the soul. Let's wake up daily. Here's a good one. This is what I'm working on in 2011. I'm working on staying present in the moment. I will not worry about what happened yesterday. Doggone it, I can't do anything about it. If I can, I'm not at that level yet. So, okay, it's over. It's over, people. It's over. The future, as I'm learning, never gets here. Now, I do have experiences that unfold, but the future doesn't get here. So why am I going to be caught up in the future? What I seek to do is to maximize right now. So for everybody who's going to tell me how busy you are and you don't have time to sit down and do 2 hours worth of yoga, meditate for 3 hours a day, read your spiritual book for 4 hours a day. If you don't have that kind of time to commit, which is most of us don't really. I am a householder. I homeschool my kids. I teach fitness classes. I cook. I clean. No, I don't have time to set aside that kind of time in those huge blocks. But what I do have time to do is to stay present in this moment, right here and right now, and see what is there for me to learn. Is there an opportunity for me to seize? Right here and right now. Stay present. It's real simple. Just stay in the now. Be right here. That is a spiritual practice in and of itself. Stay right here in the moment, the now moment. And it may take you having to do some yoga to release toxins from your body and your mind, your emotions and your soul. It may take you setting aside 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours to meditate, to completely and totally unplug from this world and your identity as you know it. It may take you reading your spiritual work, inspirational works, engaging in some art form that helps you connect with yourself and the greater divine consciousness. It may take all of that. But if you don't do anything else, just decide, I'm so aware in this moment that I can hear the air and the wind isn't even blowing. I'm so aware in this moment that I can sense the divine presence permeating the room, permeating everything in the room. I feel no separation between myself and the divine consciousness. When you walk aware, it gets that deep. It gets that whole and gratifying. It is wonderful. And so spiritual practices are important. I have some that I engage in, and I tell people I don't believe in cookie cutter spiritual practices. Whatever works for you, that's what you do. But when all else fails, be present in the moment, in the now. That is a spiritual practice that will win. You will win with that one. This is tirra-olufemi. I hope you've enjoyed this word today. I'm your goddess guru. That's not to say that I am a guru, but I do have a goddess inside of me, and she is my guru. When she tells me wisdom that never fails, it assists me along my way. And I have been charged by my ancestors to share it with whoever needs it, desires it, and wishes to use it. And that might be you. And so I end with this. Many goddess blessings right here in this now moment be upon you. May you be aware of the blessings of the goddess, because they're ever present, always. Peace.